understand you were putting this in the advertising budget, but honestly, I could easily put this into missions.
100%. 100%. And that's what I want to talk about today. So maybe share some of that stuff, whatever. At one point, I'll throw it over to you because I like to have you just kind of share your heart. You always have a good perspective.
Okay, man. Yeah, whatever.
So let's do that. Josh Smith, Jehu. Man, we got Norton Baptist Church in the house. Doug, what's going on, guys? It's good to see y'all here. We got a few more people joining here. Man, Josh Smith, what's going on in your world, bro? How's everything going?
It's going good, man. Just moving forward, reading, studying, learning. I'm at my home office right now. It's like a ceiling fan in the back. But just moving forward. The church is trying to get back in motion and things like that. And I was watching Aaron's service the other day.
Okay.
Dude, how broad is your chest? Because I felt intimidated physically watching you preach. I was like, this guy looks like he should be doing like breaking the chain sermon and pulling chains apart up there. Remember the power team from the 90s?
Yeah, buddy.
Dude, that's Aaron. Aaron should be on the power team.
Bro, I was trying to keep up with you, Josh. That's all. Yeah.
But, I had one of those Christian Karens attack me a little bit the other night.
Yeah, okay.
And she went back in my comments and about 8 weeks ago found like one comment I didn't reply back to and just tried to like blast me for not responding to it. And it took me 2 days praying and calming down before responding, because like that was right at the time where my wife was getting over having her 4th surgery on her hand and physical therapy. And then she got hit with COVID like a week later after that. So it's like there was like this great, wonderful time span there. And I was just like, just Bro. 2 days to pray and come to peace.
I would say, shut up before I slap you with my Bible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's going really good. I'm getting ready. And I know you probably will say don't do it, but I'm gonna throttle back my ads a little bit and try to refocus on my group that I currently have. I got almost 800 people on my contact list, and I'm gonna try to do the paid messaging and try to dwindle that down a little bit, and then try to connect with these individuals again as we're reopening our county and community, and focus our resources on the paid to get them back in until we know who, and you never know who's going to come, but at least who's actually interested right now. We're going to try to whittle that down to 780 people, down to hopefully 115, 120. Well, I'd love to say 200, but realistically, probably down to that 100, and then try to see who that 100 is actually sincere. So we're going to focus on that.
Okay. You're right. I don't like the idea of throttling back the ads, but man, I trust you. Be led by the Spirit. So I do like the idea of focusing on them, right? But I like the idea of both and. But I trust you, man.
It's a budget thing. You can only spend your budget so much on one way. And it's like when you only got, X amount of hundreds of dollars, you got to know when to throttle back here so you can spend over here and then try to get it going again.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's the reality of the situation. So I totally get it. Billy Sweeney, what's up, bro? Good to see you. All right, so Billy, before I forget, let me show you real quick how to fix your problem, because it takes 5 seconds, and there's probably other people in here that want to know also.
Oh, please. Yeah. Thanks, brother.
Yeah. And also, I just want to say, Jehu, I just saw your comment in the chat. That's amazing, bro. I love when people say ridiculous comments like that. Someone called Pastor Jehu a wolf in sheep's clothing because his wife is in the picture with him in the ad. And that person said that women shouldn't be pastors. So that is awesome. I love the haters.
Yep.
I've had Aaron and I were texting. He texted me yesterday like, "What are some of the nasty emails you're getting, bro? I just want to know, just for fun." There've been some interesting ones. It's funny how people, especially Christians, for some reason, they love to hate on each other, and you just get these people. I read this is a total side note here, and I'm about to show you, Billy. I haven't gotten off topic, but if you guys have ever read The Final Quest by Rick Joyner, there's a really interesting part in the opening battle. It's like the armies of darkness, they're coming up and they're going up against the armies of the Lord. and there's way more people in the armies of darkness. He looks at it, it's super intimidating. And as the army gets closer, he realizes that the entire army from hell is actually riding into battle like they're infantry. They're not riding horses, they're riding Christians, right? And so it's actually these Christians that have been deceived into thinking that they're doing the Lord's work, but they're actually being influenced by the enemy, and it's doing stuff like that, right? It's like calling out pastors and calling them wolf in sheep's clothing and all this different stuff, right? It's people that actually think they're doing the Lord's work, but they're actually being deceived and used by the enemy. Anyway, I won't talk anymore about that. Let me share my screen here and show you, Billy. I'm actually in your account, and I'm going to show you what's going on. So Billy had a question. He's turning the ads back on, and the flow said disabled. And so wanted to know, okay, how do we get that going again so that the flow is actually working? So what you want to do is you want to jump into your account. I'll just share your screen real quick here. And then we'll jump into stories here in just a second, which is what we normally start with, but I wanted to make sure that I got to this. So when you go into ManyChat and you log in, you go to your dashboard, come down here to automation. And then what that's actually showing you, Billy, is that right down here, it's showing that it's turned off. So there's 2 send prayer requests that we have built in to basically every single church. One of them is the live stream invite, and then one of them is the in-person invite, right? So basically with this one, and then you can see over here, right? So it has the same keyword. You just can't have them on at the same time. So are you trying to invite, like have people plan a visit for the live stream, or are you trying to have them plan a visit for an in-person service right now?
In-person service, and so I want the prayer going.
Perfect. So all we need to do is we're going to turn off live stream invite, and we're going to turn on how can I pray for you, plan your visit, and that's in-person services. So now whenever, and this is the keyword, so that keyword connects it to this one. So now whenever anyone types in send prayer request and hits that button, it'll kick off the physical services one instead of the live stream one, because we turned that off.
Rad, man. That was simple. Thanks so much.
Yep, absolutely. So super simple, but just know that's always it. The rest of them you can actually leave on. It's the only one that's pulling double duty, right? It's the only one because it's like, hey, because of quarantine, we went and actually built the live stream invite one and kind of experimented with some different stuff. And then like, okay, if you're not meeting in person, right? The first time the church has ever really had to deal with that in the history of ever, and you're just doing live stream, then we have a flow for that. But if you're open back up and you're trying to get people out to your services, you want to turn that one off and have this one, and then you're good to go.
Radical. Thanks, brother.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so yeah, if you guys are doing this, so just as a side note, if any of you guys are ever switching, like if you have to shut down your church, you go back to the live stream invite. That's where you go. You go into keywords, and all you have to do is, because we'll get emails all the time like, oh my gosh, can you turn off this flow and turn this flow on? And that's actually how you do it. It sounds complicated, but it's actually not. You just go in, you go into the keyword section, and under send prayer requests, you turn off physical services and turn the live stream invite on. Or if you're now opening back up and having physical services again, you want to turn off the live stream, you just do it vice versa. So, excuse me, Aaron said, it's always the Pharisees that stir up the issues. 100%, bro. Okay, let's open this up. Let's talk about stories, testimonies, and obviously they can be related to the Facebook ads. They can be just stuff that's going on in ministry, stuff that's going on in your world. Let's talk testimonies right now. Yeah, Aaron Butler, what's up, bro? Oh, I think you're muted, my man.
Oh, snap. So anyway, we've been online only for a minute. And so we're still looking for a building, but a church, a couple things. A church has allowed us to meet on Sunday nights to kind of rally the team. So that's been really awesome. And in fact, we've been doing Discover Your Purpose. I've got 8 people in our growth track this Saturday for step 2.
Come on, bro.
Discover Your Design. So even in the midst of the pandemic being online, we can still reach people and add to the church. So, and check this, 4 of those came out of the Facebook group. Okay, so it was relationship from the ad into the Facebook group, continued relationships, and then from there, hey, we want to join the church. So just let you know.
So walk people through. So for everyone, you and I have talked about this, but for everyone that's not familiar, walk people through what your flow looks like for your online service, coming from the prayer ad into becoming like a member.
So we do from the prayer ad, obviously, it's an invite to the online service. So you guys all have that, we do the calls. Even if it's live stream, even if it's, online, we still do the calls for live stream. That's super, super important because we always want to have that personal connection. But our follow-up is always, hey, listen, we want you to become part of our digital community. It's super important that we're connected right now. And so we just ask them, hey, would you like an invite to the Facebook group? And that's usually after they said yes to come to online service. So now it's like, hey, that's awesome. Hey, why don't you send us a comment after church in the group, because we go live in the group. We use Restream, so we can go to, the group, the page, YouTube, all that stuff. And say, why don't you leave a comment and let us know what you liked about it or whatever. We'd love to engage with you. And so I have hosts that, are on top of that. And so that way it builds that type of community so that they're attending, but they're not attending by themselves. That's a key. They're attending, but they're not attending by themselves. That's why it's so important. If it's in person or online, whichever one that they choose is super important. And I would dare say, guys, if you're still running live streams, if you got somebody who can't plan a visit in person or don't want to plan a visit in person, follow up with the option of watching live, right? Don't because that's a lower barrier of entry, right? Watching live is a lower barrier of entry than coming in person. I might not be there yet, even though you prayed for me, but I may be able to watch online. But here's the deal. Once you develop that connection and you enter that relationship, it sets the precedent for the future to come in person as well. So gotta be thinking through how you structure everything, because the whole point, man, is, to make disciples. And the more that you can attach people and processes to those things, the better off you're going to be.
So good, bro. So good. All right. Josh Smith, when you say, can anyone share what their paid ad has looked like or the message they've sent out? Do you mean the sponsored message, like the paid broadcast? Does anybody have that? I know we've had a couple people. Yeah. Doug, what's up, man?
Hey guys. Yeah. Let's see. Let me get over there to ManyChat. Just set it up here. Yeah, it's pretty simple. I've been doing them for each of our new message series, and the one for December just said, you only got so many characters. So it just said, need hope. And I had their name in it. Come to his place, 10 a.m. Sunday in person or watch online. And I had the link right there for a message on hope. So I'm wondering, can you make it? I've heard that someplace. I'm not sure exactly where that might have come up. So that was that one. Is that what you mean, Josh? Something like that? Okay. What I'll do, guys, to not hold up the thread is I'll copy the text of my two messages in there. And I had first one was 531 impressions, cost me $10, and the second one was over 600, cost me $12.42. So, yeah.
How far ahead do you send them, Doug?
Thursday, the week of. So you never want to get it out, in my opinion, too early. You really want it right there, so that it's top of mind. I think I ran it Thursday through Sunday right before service, because people are going to look in at different times. It kind of, it's not like a text that goes, I don't think. I think it gives them some sort of impression. I'm not even sure how that works. Maybe it goes as a message. Yeah, must.
Doug, did you send one as an intro to kind of get them back aware of who you were again? Or did you start with the sermon, like inviting to the sermon series?
I started right with the sermon because they could flip through their thread and see who I am, and it won't let you send anybody over a year ago. So,
well, I'm coming up on a year, so it's like I got some people that are almost, they've been sitting there for 10 months, and right about when we started, 3 weeks later, COVID hit us. So that was kind of like we've been just building up a huge base for COVID, but then you can be forgotten in that thing. It's like those people who went around and sold those cards in your neighborhood for their sports team, that you just forget about, but you really still have access to free Sundays, so I feel like we're almost in that category with how long it's been since COVID has really hurt us.
I don't worry about that, because if they need hope, they're going to click on it. They're going to figure out what it is, or if they need whatever your hook is, So yeah.
Well, and Josh, here's a simple re-engagement campaign, right? Like if you've gone that long, something that might be a great way of reminding them without saying, "Hey, just to remind you who I am," right? The best way to do that might just be send a message at first that just says something like, so the number one advice I have when crafting those sponsored messages, right? Those like paid broadcasts to everyone that's on your messenger list is to write it like a text message to a friend. Right. So don't write it like an email blast or something like you're addressing like, hey, everybody, right? Like use that first name tag. So it's going to pull in their first name and then write it like you're texting a friend. So now if you were texting someone who had asked you for prayer a long time ago, but hadn't connected with you in a long time, right? You'd still write that in a personal way, but you'd say it a little bit differently. So what I'd recommend is something like that for like and you only have to do like one re-engagement message, but you could do something, you could launch right into it, like what Pastor Doug's talking about. Or you could just send one that just says something along the lines of like, right, hey, first name, man, this is Josh, right? Or you can say Josh, you can say Pastor Josh, whichever you prefer, right? Like maybe like, hey, first name, this is Pastor Josh. A while ago, you had reached out to me for prayer, and I just wanted to follow up with you and see how it's going. Is there anything I can pray for you about this week? Right? Something like that, where you're basically following up, and that's like basically the same exact wording you would say if you were texting every single person individually. So it's going to feel like a personal text, right, through Messenger, and it's even by using the first name tag, it's even going to pull it in. So it's like, hey, Caleb, this is Pastor Josh. Man, a little while back you had reached out to me for prayer. I just want to follow up with you and see how it's going. Is there anything I can pray about, with you this week, right? But ending it with a question, so now there's some engagement back and forth, right? And it might just be like, just want to follow up with you, right? How's it going now? Question mark, right? Or is there anything I can pray for you now, or is there anything I can pray for you this week? Something like that, where you're ending it with a question, but it's all about, hey, like then they're gonna go, oh yeah, like this is the guy that prayed for me on Facebook, right? So you're not saying like, hey, I don't know if you remember me or not. You don't want to say any of that kind of stuff, right? You just want to like just, hey, and if you say a little while back, the people that reached out 2 weeks ago, right, or the people that reached out 12 months ago, all go, oh yeah, it was a little while ago, right? It's like, and so you just kind of re-engage those guys in a way that's very non-threatening, but also like you're just kind of building value again. That way, if they see another message next week or 2 weeks down the line or 3 weeks down the line where you're inviting them out to church or to watch a live service or something like that, now they're like, oh yeah, this is Pastor Josh. He prays for people, right? Like he prayed for me. So that first was just kind of like a re-engagement or like a relationship kind of build, right? Like you can spend $10 and send it out to every single person that's asked you to pray for them. That's a freaking win. That's the great thing about this, right? So it's a little bit bummer for us that have all been doing broadcasts before they became sponsored messages. Like when we could do it for free, that was awesome, right? But now it's like, okay, it is a bummer we have to spend 10 or 12 bucks, but it's still so cheap for what we're getting. And it's just like kind of in the early days, everyone that used to be able to post on their Facebook page like, hey, we got a new sermon series come out this Sunday, right? And every single one of their followers saw it. That was awesome in 2008. But it's 2020 now, right? Like, so when we first like made that shift, it was like, darn it, that sucks. Now we got to pay for this. I used to get this for free, but it's just the reality of the world. And so I guess the cold hard truth or the reality of the situation is this is the cheapest it's ever going to be able to send out a message to every single one of the people on your messenger list, right? It's only going to get more expensive. So like right now it's a bargain for what we're going to get. So let's take advantage of it and just write it like a personal text message to a friend and just use that. I don't think it's a bad idea to send that out, 2 or 3 times a month, right? You're just staying engaged. Just make sure that every single time isn't promotional, right? Sometimes it should just be value based and that kind of stuff, right? So,
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, what's up?
Can you just briefly explain the difference between the broadcast and the paid message?
Yeah. So the broadcast, we used to be able to use a broadcast and reach every single person on your messenger list, right? So if you have 1,000 subscribers, you'd be able to do a broadcast and reach all 1,000 subscribers. You could reach them for free, and you had 93% open rates, right? It was amazing. Well, Facebook recently changed that. So now if you do a broadcast, it'll only go to the people that you've talked to within the last 24 hours, right? So there's this 24-hour window. So like you just turn your prayer ads back on. Anyone who responds to you, it basically opens up a 24-hour window, right? So if they set a prayer request today at 3 o'clock, right? Like from 3 o'clock today until 3 o'clock tomorrow, you can contact them. You can say anything you want, contact them as much as you want. You can do anything you want. At 3 o'clock tomorrow, that 24-hour window closes. And now Facebook won't let you contact them anymore unless they kind of reach out, right? So now you won't be able to send out a broadcast to those guys. So what they've done is now they make you send out a sponsored message, which is basically just a paid broadcast. It's almost like it's almost like being able to like a boosted post, right? It's like you can go post on your Facebook for free, and a few people see it, about 3% of the people that like your page, or you can boost that post and put $5 or $10 behind it, and and get hundreds of people to see it. It's kind of the same thing. And the great thing about Facebook Messenger right now is if you do that sponsored message, you can still reach every single one of the people that are subscribed to your messenger list. And like, Doug was saying, Doug, what were those numbers again? It was like 500 people the first time, $10, and then 600 for $12.
Yeah, that was it. And I have at that time I had about 1,000 subscribers, or 900
Okay.
moving to 1,000. So that was about 60% impression rate.
Perfect. Yeah. So, man, Pastor Billy, I think you have right around 700 in yours, if right. Like, so it's probably gonna be the same thing, right? About 10 or $12, and you'll be able to send a message out to every single one of them, right? And reach out to them. So it's just kind of the way Facebook's changing things and that kind of stuff, right? So eventually it'll probably be more expensive to do that. Right now it's only 10 or $12, and you can send out like a super targeted message, right? Like we were talking about, like hey, first name, this is Pastor Billy. Man, a little while back, you reached out and asked me to pray for you. Just wanted to follow up and see how it's going. How can I pray for you this week? And then re-engage a bunch of people. So great way of doing that. All right. So here's one of the things I wanted to address really quick. You guys may have seen my emails the last couple of days, which we were referring to all of the hate, which is kind of funny. But so here, I'll just say this on a personal note. And Caleb recognized it right away when I read him the email after I sent it, but he was on a call when I sent it. Normally I run it by him just like, hey, you hear anything funny? Like, is there anything here? Like, I don't want it to sound like too promotionally or too spammy or sometimes too controversial, because sometimes I say things and they come across a little bit more harsh than I plan on, especially if I'm writing them rather than saying them. So like I had an email that went out a couple weeks ago called Your Excuses Are a Lie. And I actually meant for it to be very encouraging, but apparently some people didn't take it that way. One guy got really, really pissed and sent a series of emails telling me that I was basically like the devil and the devil's little helper or whatever. Anyway, but it was like one of those things like, wow, okay. So I sometimes misjudge that, but my filter was on a call and wasn't there. So anyway, so I sent it out. And funny, when I was reading it to him, he goes, "Oh man, that's going to piss people off." I'm like, no, it won't. That's not controversial, right? No, I was extremely wrong. He was right. So, but the whole idea, like and it was Caleb's idea. He was like, man, we should address the question, like, should my church leave Facebook? And at first I was like, no, we shouldn't. Like, nobody's thinking that. And he's like, dude, churches all over the country are thinking that. I'm like, no way. And sure enough, again, I was wrong. Caleb was 100% right. And so there's so many churches contemplating leaving Facebook because of everything that's going on. I'm going to try not to say anything political right now because of how frustrated people got on the email list when I said it. And I thought I was being non-political. So regardless of where you stand politically or what you think about Facebook, whether you think they are targeting Christians and conservatives or whether you think they're not, doesn't matter. I should have even written that part because I was like, shoot, the whole point of that was just to say Facebook is a missions field, right? There's 2.8 billion people on Facebook, which makes it the largest missions field in the history of mankind. Aaron Butler and I were talking about this earlier. He was saying the exact same thing a couple weeks ago, right? That Facebook is a missions field. Excuse me. And the whole point of my email and what I wanted to even share in this is just that we have to view it that way. Right. So regardless of what we all think about Mark Zuckerberg and the rest of Facebook and everything that's going on in the country, when we look at Facebook, right, and social media as a whole, but we have to look at it as a missions field, right? There's 2.8 billion people on Facebook, 1.7 billion log in every single day. And the average American spends 38 minutes a day on Facebook. Right. So like if there was a gas station or a grocery store or a town square in our city where every single person in the town went there for at least 38 minutes a day, all we would do is target that place and do ministry and invite people to church. Right. And so that's what's so interesting about this is like we have that opportunity with Facebook right now, and we need to recognize it at that. Facebook is a missions field. And we need to look at it that way. So regardless of what happens, even if they legitimately just start like targeting Christians and churches outright and start banning us from the platform, even if that starts happening in the future, we have to look at it as a missions field and figure it out, right? It's like, man, there are missionaries who die when they go to the countries. It doesn't stop missionaries from going there, right? Like, I don't know if you guys ever read, there's a great book by Mark Batterson called All In. And he has a chapter that's, and the chapter is called Pack Your Coffin. And he literally talks about these one-way missionaries, right? Who would literally pack all of, like, oh man, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. But these missionaries would pack all of their personal possessions into a coffin and have that shipped over when they move to a country to go be a missionary there, because the people there were so hostile to the gospel that they knew they would probably die proclaiming Christ, and they had to ship over their own casket to be shipped back in, right? That's freaking hardcore. Like, I get frustrated when I'm a little bit sweaty in church, because I'm like, does the AC not work or what? And these people are packing their coffins like into the missions field, right? So like, those people are going over there willing to die. So if we suffer a little bit of persecution on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is, man, so be it, right? Like, it can't keep us from being on mission and reaching people there. And so it's just one of the things I just wanted to kind of address on today's call. And I think, I know a lot of you guys come to these calls every single week, and we talk about a lot of this stuff, right? But just as a reminder, man, those people that are on Facebook, like those people that come to you, if you're doing like the prayer ads right now, or even Discover Your Purpose or the Marriage Challenge, or any of them, right? And you're talking to somebody and you're like, oh man, gosh dang it. Like, another guy who wants me to pay his light bill, right? Or another guy who doesn't have a car and can't get to church, another guy who's homeless, or whatever it is, right? And you're frustrated about something. Just remember, like, if you flip that, say, wait a second, this is a missions field, and I'm a social media missionary, and I'm out here, and every single person that God brings to you is an actual, like, is a human soul who's probably lost and needs Jesus, right? And just remembering that, okay, God's brought this person to me, and so right now in this moment, I'm going to minister to this person, right? And maybe you can't pay their light bill, right? Maybe you can't find them shelter or anything like that. Maybe you can't get them a ride, but you can minister to them and you can make a personal connection with them. And if you can show them the love of Christ, right? And then you can show the next person the love of Christ, right? Like, at some point, I legitimately believe a lot of those people are going to be in heaven with us, and they're going to be coming up to us saying, thank you, right? They're going to thank you for spending your time, your money, your resources, right? Like your emotional strength, ministering to them on Facebook, because the seeds that you're planting, regardless of whether or not you're the one that harvests it, right? Like, there's going to be people that you're going to be meeting in heaven who are going to be thanking you because of the work that you're doing here, even if you don't ever get to see the harvest of it on this side of eternity. So just remember, like, why we're doing this. Well, like, man, this is ministry, right? The goal is always, let me just get to 1,000 prayers, right? Don't focus on church growth. Don't focus on butts and seats. Don't focus on planner visits or visitors. Don't focus on any of that kind of stuff. That stuff will all naturally happen as a result of going all in on the ministry side of things and treating Facebook like a missions field. And so that's it. I'll get off my tree stump now, but that's just kind of what I wanted to share and talk about a little bit on here. So
can I add something real quick?
Yes, please do.
So I know that it's in our human nature to categorize things. We organize in our brain. It's by organization to help us process information. And we do that with people too, right? So we put people into categories by nature, a lot of times by tribe, through our own experience. More now than ever, and I was reading a sociologist recently, he was talking about, more now than ever, we are very tribal, and we're putting people into categories almost immediately.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the tribes are more and more at dissent. They're at odds with each other, unfortunately. And so I think that's also kind of the heart of the message. And from Chris's email is, if Mark Zuckerberg becomes the next Billy Graham, we should be on Facebook. If he becomes the next Joseph Stalin, we should be on Facebook. If he's an atheist, we should be on Facebook. If he's a Christian, we should be. That doesn't matter. What matters is we've got to start seeing people as individuals, not in tribes. We've got to fight that it's already in our human nature, but now more than ever, we're just almost being fed that. It's being offered to us on silver platters to categorize people in tribes for and against.
Yeah.
But on Facebook, if every other church leaves, you should stay, because it's not about the tribes, it's about the person. They're autonomous human beings with souls who maybe have a father or a mother praying for them, or a son or a daughter praying for them. But these are individuals who make decisions on their own. And that's why the prayer request ad is effective, because we treat them that way. No matter what camp they're in, it doesn't matter. And that's why we should stay on Facebook. If every conservative leaves, we need to be there to reach the people that we're supposed to be reaching. If it becomes just conservatives, we got to reach the backslidden ones. Joshua Smith, that was for you.
So I love Jay, who said, see people as individuals, not in tribes. I love that, man. I think that's it. And I think we've talked about this before, but man, when Caleb speaks, you should listen, right? Like he has a master's in psychology, and the stuff that he's talking about, he's not guessing, right? Like his background as a counselor, he has some very unique and, dare I say, spirit-led insight into people and the way their brains work and the way they think and that kind of stuff. So, Josh said, I'm the liberal in my denomination. Bro, I've seen it. I got on the email list for the Idea Network. And maybe I should have said that out loud, but for the network that you're a part of, and I have seen how conservative a lot of those people think. So that is interesting.
Hey, thanks for the compliment, Bogdan. I got to say, I've actually looked at each one of you. I've done my Facebook stalking, and you guys are all exceptional in your sermons. So I want you guys to know that. Like when Chris and I talk about you guys, you're crushing it. So keep up the good work.
I love, number one, Bogdan, I love that you're here, bro. I was pumped when I saw Forward Church jump into the waiting room. And number two, I love your comment. Bogdan just wants you to write his sermons, bro. So I'll go ahead and volunteer, Caleb. The answer is yes. He would love to. That's perfect. All right. Let's jump in. Let's do some Q&A. We addressed Pastor Billy's thing earlier. Do we have any other questions, whether they be strategic, tactical, specifically about chatbots or anything else?
I have a question, Chris and Caleb. Yeah. I don't know if you guys answered it. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. My question is regarding the paid, because we can't, no longer can we send a broadcast message out, right?
Right.
Because that was a phenomenal feature. I mean, that was insanity. I'm so glad we utilized that, because if anybody slept on it, you slept bad. Like, yeah, we didn't sleep on it. We used that all the way, and it was great when we could send like almost 1,300 messages to our subscribers, which we did. And it was all this follow-up. But I guess my question is, you know how when you do paid messages, I guess for some reason I'm getting some weird error message that I emailed you and Heather about. I don't know if anybody else got a weird error message, like when it asks you to have how much you want to put on the paid messages, that first box, and then you say what the bidding is, like you can put in whatever amount you want in there. And then the message that you send there, it's very limited, right? It's only like, can be only like 140 characters, very, very short. Have you guys figured out a way to work around that? Like to be able to send it?
Yeah. So Doug, I know you had this problem a couple of weeks ago. Can you share with Bogdan what you saw on the money side of things?
Hey, Bogdan. Yeah. We've done a couple paid messages, and I just had to, I don't remember the exact setting on the money side of it, but I know I had to raise the total price I was willing to invest to like $100, $150. And that's when it would accept. I just kept raising the dollar amount until it allowed me to publish, even though it only charged me $10 because we had 600 people or 1,000 people roughly on the list. So it didn't use all of it. It just had to get up above a certain threshold.
Oh.
It's probably like when you're doing Facebook ads, you've got to have so much in your spend limit account, even though you don't use all of it on an individual ad.
Okay, I think, yeah, Doug, drop me your info in the chat. But yeah, I think you're exactly right, because all I was doing was I just kept putting $100, and it kept giving me that error message. So maybe I'll just jump it to like maybe 200 or 300, because our broadcast, because I've been with Chris and Caleb like from way back, like January of last year. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, gee, I don't know if anybody else has been this long with Caleb. I jumped on, and Chris, we jumped on this. We jumped Aaron too. Oh, okay.
We go back long time.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's awesome. But we have like 12 or 1,300 subscribers. I think that might be the case, that it's not allowing you to, the $100 is too little. Okay. All right. I'm going to try it out. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Aaron, shoot me your info too. I want to connect with you.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I remember. I'm glad the house. I remember Doug talking about that. 3 weeks ago or something like that, Doug. So thanks for sharing that, man.
Bet.
That's.
I dabbled with it this week also, and I have like 300 subscribers, Jose. And I put $30 in the first box and 20 on the second box, and it works. So just keep raising it, like Doug said.
Perfect.
How much did you put in? I'm sorry, in the 2 areas?
I have 300 subscribers, so I only put $30 in the first box and 20 on the second box, and it did work.
For that short little message you could send out to everybody at the same time.
Correct.
Okay, got it. All right, I'll try to tweak my dollar amounts, and I'll tell you guys how it goes. Thank you.
So from what I noticed, because we've got, like, I don't know, I think 1,800 subscribers at this point. What we do is you have to put in a dollar amount. It's not going to use it all. It just wants it to be available for you to do that. Because I mean, even Doug said it only costs them $12 or whatever. They're not going to they just want it to be available to do that. I know it's kind of freaks people out. Like, I don't want you to use this whole budget or whatever. And they don't, it's just the way that algorithm works. They need to fix some stuff.
Yeah, it probably has something to do, and it's such a new feature that I haven't been able to find that much information on it. But it's probably has something to do like the Facebook ad algorithm itself, right? Like the whenever you create a Facebook ad, the newsfeed is an auction, right? So basically, like you're basically bidding towards. So when you want to show to people within driving distance of your church, you're bidding against all the other people on Facebook who are trying to run ads to the people who live within driving distance of your church, right? So some of those might be like, Budweiser and McDonald's and Coca-Cola, who are just trying to reach everybody in the US. And then some of them also might be like local businesses or, whatever it is. So it's an auction. And that's why sometimes I've had this happen. If you ever tried running Facebook ads, like in a business niche that's super, super saturated, right? Like one of the most saturated businesses ever is the work from home online business, right? Everybody's like, hey, make money from your laptop, work from home, right? The whole laptop lifestyle. You go to try to create an ad like that and launch it, and you go, what the heck's working? Like, man, I put this, but it's not showing to anyone. Why isn't Facebook showing it? It's because basically you didn't pay them enough money because there's so many other people flooding the market that basically you're just getting outbid in the auction. And so you have to put like your daily budget up super high just to start showing. I think it has something to do with that, with the Facebook Messenger thing, where it's something to do with the auction, where you have to be willing to, like Pastor Doug was saying, spend $150, and then it kind of puts you to the top of the list, and you won the auction, and now it'll push it out there to everybody. So I can't back that up. That's just my theory on it, but I think it just has something to do with Facebook ads being somewhat of an auction, even though these are just people that are on your Messenger list and already subscribed. So as soon as we can find out some more information on that, we'll let you guys know. In fact, help me remember, Caleb, we bought into a chatbot coaching program here a couple of weeks ago. It was pretty high end and expensive, but I was like, okay, these seem to be, they're actually like ManyChat's partners, and this is who ManyChat recommends. They have their whole a bot agency and all this kind of stuff for like Fortune 500 companies. So we bought into their coaching program so that we could learn things like this, right? When things are coming down the pike and that kind of stuff, we can constantly stay on the cutting edge of what's happening, what's new, and because things change so fast, right? Like it wasn't too long ago that, like Bogdan was saying, right? You could reach 1,300 subscribers for free with 93% open rates. Right. And now you got to pay. Right. And right now it's like, oh my gosh, 10 or 12 bucks. Right. And it could be 6 months from now, it could be like, I can't believe it's $50 just to reach everybody on my messenger list. Right. Who knows what that's going to look like. But anyway, that's why it's important on this. So I remember
a quick question on the paid message. You said, Chris, that it would be wise to put like, hey, and then add the first name widget, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
How do I add a widget? I'm looking at it right now. And I don't see like an add widget button or anything like that.
Are you talking about a merge tag to have the person's name in there?
Just type a bracket.
Yeah, bracket, shift, and then bracket twice, and you'll see first name pop up.
Boom, Bogdan's a pro at this point.
I'm sorry, say that again. I missed it because I think it was 2 people talking.
Shift and then bracket twice. You know the icon next to your P on your keyboard? I don't know what you call it.
I think brackets, right?
Yeah, bracket, shift bracket.
Found it. Thanks.
Okay.
Boom. All right, let's see. I know we're past time here, but I want to make sure we extend the Q&A a little bit if anyone else has questions. So, and anybody else have questions about chatbots, about paid messages, about Facebook ads, discover your purpose, anything like that?
Question for Aaron. Like, how is it different when they're watching in the group? Like you said, they're watching together as opposed to, by themselves. How is that different?
Well, we've got hosts that are in the group and hosts that are on the page. I mean, you can use Restream's chat feature, but I mean, it's okay. I just think that it's better to be on the actual site. You're going to have a team member that's in the group that's hosting that. So we have a team member on the YouTube channel, team member on the page, on the group. I have a team member on my personal one because I broadcast to my personal one. I have somebody on there too, just because you never know who's going to log in at any moment. And I want them to be connected. So it's the same as broadcasting to a page. There's no issues. Same thing.
Got you. So that's what I use now. We use the page on my personal page. So is the group like different? Like you're seeing people? Because we have a lot of people watching, but they typically would not say anything.
Well,
So
I mean,
we don't have a way to track them.
Yeah, you got silent majorities, and it's kind of like, getting somebody to say amen in church. You know what I mean? Like you've got to push them and say, hey, listen, we're trying to create a talkback culture. We're trying to create a comment culture. And what I would love for you is to engage. So just lean into that and just make the ask. Try not to be silent. Hey, try to be engaged. Say, like your voice matters and your comment, it could help somebody. We want to build relationships. Just try to, some people are just going to be silent no matter what. It is what it is. But if you engage them, you'll probably get some people to comment a little bit more. We try to actively pursue that. But it's the same thing as a page. If you're using like Restream to broadcast to that, it's just the people that are used to the page. They communicate on the page, but I'm seeing the group actually rise up more and more and more because as we get people into the group, they think that that's what community is for. The group is for community, and almost is like the page is for like announcements, broadcast. That's not what it's for, but it seems to be like that's, you just foster a lot much more community in the group is what I'm finding out. More prayer requests. People pray for each other. I don't have to do nothing. You know what I mean? They send a prayer request and everybody in there prays for them. And I'm like, this is great. Like, I don't have to do a ton.
Good deal. So is that a private group or a public group you created?
It's a public group. You have to ask to join still. But it's anybody can join, anybody can submit. And we did that on purpose. We wanted to, because of online ministry, I didn't want it to be, a club for the convinced. I want it to be a shelter for the broken, right? So all are welcome.
So Jose, I'll tell you something I've seen that can help with getting people to actively engage on the live stream, right? Whether it's a Facebook Live, whether it's church online platform, the best thing that you can do is stack the deck. Right. So if you actually seed people in there to say things, one of the best people I've ever seen do this is Ryan Wakefield's team at Church Marketing University. Right. So I was on a Facebook Live with him yesterday, and I noticed this, I don't know, a while back, a couple of months ago or something like that, is every time I'd go in there, like everything that I would say, people would be like quoting me in the comments. I'm like, man, this is awesome. I'm killing it right now. Wow. Look at how many quotable things I'm saying. Look at all these people. Then when I went back and looked at it, I realized it's like the same 4 people. It's his team. It's his like paid staff member who they're just quoting me. Like that's part of their job is to like say those things. So here I am like, man, thinking like I'm just like bringing fire. And it's like, no, like he just does that. But because those people start doing that, then what happens is other people start jumping in, right? And then what Wakefield does is, I don't know if this is public knowledge or not, but I'll tell you guys anyway, is he reaches out to those guys who start like all of a sudden saying stuff who aren't part of the staff, right? And he basically like makes them like a rock star volunteer. He has something he calls the Jedi, right? And he makes them a Jedi. And so now the Jedi are they're basically like ambassadors inside of the group who do that kind of stuff, who help people for free and help people find stuff, right? Like Aaron saying, like he doesn't have to do anything. People are praying for each other and that kind of stuff. Those people are Jedi, right? Like whether he's equipped them to do that or not on purpose, right? Now, because of his vision, his leadership, right? He's empowered these people. So now they're going in, now the Jedi are taking care of people. And that's how you get next level leadership. Right, like I had my brother-in-law grew one of the largest youth groups. I'm pretty sure it was at least the largest middle school ministry I've ever seen. right? Like he literally grew a middle school ministry, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, grew them from 0 up to consistently hitting 700 and 800 middle school students every single week. And he did it in a short period, within about 5 years. I used to lead worship for it, and it was like back in the day when "Blessed Be Your Name" was cool, right? So it was a minute ago, right? But we'd be like singing "Blessed Be Your Name," and I would like start rapping on one of the things or something like that, right? Because middle school kids thought that was cool. And like all of a sudden, like you would literally like just see like this crowds like just bumping of like middle school kids because they're getting into worship. Well, the way that he built that culture was he very quickly realized he couldn't pastor the kids anymore, right? When by the time it got to like 150, 175, 200, it was too big. So he started pastoring the leaders, right? And he brought all the leaders in, right? Because then you got 60, 70 leaders. He pastored the leaders pastored the kids, right? So if you can go in and you can, and that's how we grew. We had an event one time. We had over 900 6th, 7th, and 8th graders show up to the event. It was ridiculous. And so what happens is if you want to get people talking in the comments and quoting things that you're saying in the sermon and having discussion, is just equip a couple of your people, like volunteers or staff members that you have, and just say, hey, I need you to be in the comments, comment on what other people say, repost some of the things that I'm saying, like post different scriptures, that kind of stuff, like just be engaging. And once you get just 2 or 3 or 4 people doing that, other people will start to do that. Right. Like last thing I'll say, I used to do this during worship sometimes. If I knew we had like a big part of a song where I just needed things to go crazy, right? Like, and just like a huge bridge, I would actually pull out people who are natural worshipers who kind of worshiped loud and tend to get excited anyway. Right. There's one dude named Andrew who just jumped all the time. I'd be like, Andrew, I need you to go crazy when we get to the bridge of Sea of Victory, right, man? When we hit that thing, dude, jump, like get up on a chair. Like, I don't care. Just go crazy, right? Because we're going to do this. And I pull in a couple of kids and tell them that when we got there, they would go crazy. And what would happen is it would lift the room and it would lift the water line of everyone else's worship. And they would go bigger because those guys did. So if you can stack the deck and kind of seed that by having a couple of Jedi or ambassadors or just people in the church engaging and doing the things you want other people to do, it will encourage people and other people will follow suit and start doing that as well. All right, let's see, man, let's see, we've been going for about 50 minutes. Before we wrap this up, do we have any other questions about anything that we've talked about today, or anything else in the program, anything else in online ministry, anything we can help with?
Good deal. Thanks for the feedback on the groups. These are pretty good. So I'm going to be doing Discover Purpose. So Caleb, you can turn it on. Any thoughts from you guys who've done it before?
Yeah, do it. Just do it.
Did you do your own video or you use the Rick Warren one?
You know what? Actually, yeah, just some feedback. I didn't even know that video had Rick Warren in there. I only found out later on. I'm like, dang, he does a much better job explaining than I could ever. So to be honest, it did not take away at all from people coming to our church at all. Like, seriously. Because we're the ones interacting with them, and nobody thought, because a lot of these people, again, nobody knows who Rick Warren is, who's outside of the church. And if that's the people we're reaching, then that's the people who are reaching. You're 100 times better than Rick Warren because nobody knows him, but everybody knows you in your community. So for us, we built a team of, we had 7 people who basically would monitor our Facebook queue every day to respond to the prayers and to pray for people. That's what we did, because exactly what Chris said, you can't do it alone. And on Facebook, it's highly underrated, the cost of reaching people, highly underrated. I don't know why people even do postcards anymore. But when we did an ad thing of like $900 a month, which basically means we're spending like $30 to $60 a day, and we actually ran 7 ads simultaneously. We went beast mode. We were getting like 30, 40 people responding back. And many of those people became tithing families. They actually joined our church. I mean, everything Chris says is 100% true, like everything. So it's a matter of building an infrastructure, because you can open this spigot, so to speak, to spend so much money, but you need to make sure you care for people. So during COVID and during all our shutdowns in California, we basically we turned it down a little bit because we didn't have the staff power to handle all the requests. So we're rebuilding our team to, yeah. But anyway, the purpose one works great. Marriage, we had a couple from our church record the selfie video at their kitchen table about marriage. It worked. None of this is production. Don't do any production. Don't do any like HD. Get your cell phone and do it. We had a guy, a young adults guy behind a surfboard talk about discover your purpose, and people watch the recording video. I don't even care because they still came to our church. So yeah, that's my feedback.
Good deal. Thank you.
I'm just going to piggyback on what Bogdan said, because I mean, I think that, you know, utilizing your people to do certain things is amazing and building a team. In fact, if you guys, you know, having discovered your purpose and all the prayer ads and stuff, if you want to take it next level, you know, and build a team and scale it, you can scale it and build a team. And I would tell you, it does work wonders, and you can actually put more money into the ads when it becomes available to do that. And I think people in your community need to hear your voice. So, I mean, I would do, you know, Rick Warren is great. So I would say if that's what you have now, start like ready, fire, aim, use what you have now. Don't wait until, no, just start and then go record what you need to record and then move that link into there. And Chris and Caleb will help you rock that stuff out. But I would say just do it, man. Ready, fire, aim. And man, it's going to be, I'm looking forward. 2020 is going to be a great year, guys. It's going to be a great year. We're going to rebuild, right? Rebuild the wall. It's going to be good.
Come on.
100%. I'm excited. I'm telling you, we're working on some things that we've got, even with just new ads, new campaigns, you know, new chatbot flows and that kind of stuff, and just tweaking, right? Like one of the things that we're looking at is just rethinking everything, right? Like, man, is there a better way to do some of these different things, right? Is there, you know, like is the current flows that we have, is that the best way to do it? Do we need to add a step? Do we need to take a step away? Can we rewrite some of the ad copy, or should we tweak some of the creative or something? So I think that's one of the cool things, right, is that we can never get too stuck into what we're doing. We have to constantly be moving forward and trying new things. But man, I'm excited. We've seen more and more churches that have moved over to, I think most of you guys that are on here are running prayer ads and Discover Your Purpose. But we have a lot of churches that have upgraded and done Discover Your Purpose, and then are blown away by the you know, completely new demographic of people that they're reaching that they weren't reaching with the prayer ads, right? So that's been really interesting. And then like Bogdan's saying, right, he ran all 6 campaigns all at once. Yep. And so you're reaching 6 different demographics of people all at once, right? And just by using the same play where every single person, right, you're praying for them, you're sending that audio prayer, no matter what it is they reach out, whether it's marriage, parenting, entrepreneurs, 30-day Bible challenge, whatever it is, you're praying for them and then inviting them to church, right? And just that consistent action over and over and over again, week in and week out, just treating Facebook like a missions field and taking care of every single person that's been bringing, or that God's been bringing to you. It's a game changer. So, man, Aaron and Bogdan, thank you guys for sharing that. I think that's awesome. So we're pumped. We may reach out to you here when we get some of these new campaigns built to kind of split test them and see what's up. Because I think we've got some cool ideas. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag now until we actually have them built and we've tested them and they're ready to roll. But we're excited, and we're using Caleb's expertise as a psychology expert to build some of these. So pretty exciting stuff. All right. Any more questions here before we pray and get out of here? All right. Perfect. Man, Jose, will you pray for us before we go, bro?
Of course. Let's pray. Father, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be together. I thank you, Lord God, for this platform to be with other like-minded brothers that's trying to reach more people for you. So help us, Lord God, to reach wherever that you put in our lives and in the digital space. Help us, Lord God, to be very effective in all that we do. May you be with each one of us. Help us not to be discouraged, but help us to be on fire to do all that you have called us to do. May you be magnified and be glorified. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you guys. Have a phenomenal week. And we will we'll see you guys next week. See
Thank
y'all.
you.